This is my ranking of games like Inside that I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each one is placed from masterpiece down to trash, depending on how strong the atmosphere feels, how creative the puzzle platforming is, and how well each game uses storytelling without relying on dialogue. Let's get straight into the list. Bramble the Mountain King caught my attention with how it mixed dark fairy tale storytelling with tense exploration and light horror moments. I played as Ole, searching for his missing sister through forests, caves, and strange, dreamlike locations inspired by Swedish folklore. The narrator did a lot to make the journey feel like an old bedtime story, and I actually liked that there was very little voice acting because it matched the atmosphere well. Most of the gameplay focused on traversal, simple puzzles, and escaping dangerous creatures. But the boss encounters were easily the highlight since they mixed cinematic moments with puzzle-like mechanics. Some movement sections felt awkward because of the camera and animations, and I also ran into a bug that stopped my progress once. The atmosphere and storytelling still carried this experience straight into the excellent tier. Planet Alpha immediately caught my interest because of how strange and beautiful its world felt from beginning to end. I explored giant alien forests, dark caves, floating islands, and massive ruined structures while barely knowing what was actually happening around me. That mystery kept me curious the entire time, especially since the game never tried to explain everything directly. Most of the gameplay focused on platforming, stealth, and environmental puzzles using a day and night shifting mechanic that changed how areas worked. I liked watching the planet transform between sunlight and darkness, even if the puzzles themselves stayed fairly simple. Some climbing and jumping sections became frustrating because movement could feel stiff during precise moments, particularly in the low-gravity areas. The atmosphere and world design were strong enough to earn this game a place in the good tier. Gris drew me in with its incredible art style and emotional atmosphere that barely needed words to say anything. I moved through deserts, underwater ruins, forests, and dreamlike spaces while watching the world slowly regain color around me. The watercolor visuals and orchestral soundtrack constantly made each area feel calm, lonely, and sometimes overwhelming in a good way. I also liked how new abilities slowly changed traversal and puzzle solving without making things too complicated. At the same time, some platforming sections became frustrating because certain platforms blended into the background, making jumps harder than they should have been. The puzzles stayed fairly simple throughout the adventure, but the presentation carried almost every moment. The emotional tone, visual design, and music easily placed this experience in the masterpiece tier. Somerville gave me strong inside vibes right away with its silent storytelling, strange alien world, and heavy atmosphere. I followed a man searching for his family after a mysterious invasion completely changed the world around him. The environments looked beautiful at times, especially with the use of lighting and color during darker scenes, and I liked how the story explained almost nothing directly. Most puzzles involved using a strange power connected to the character's glowing arm to manipulate alien structures and clear a path forward. The mechanics stayed simple throughout the short runtime, but movement and camera transitions sometimes became awkward and frustrating during exploration. I also expected the mystery to leave a bigger impact by the end, but the final moments raised more questions than emotions. The atmosphere kept me interested, though this experience settles into the mediocre tier. DARQ kept me interested with its strange nightmare world and clever puzzle design that constantly played with perspective and gravity. I controlled Lloyd as he moved through disturbing dreamlike environments filled with eerie creatures, shifting rooms, and imagery that rarely explained itself directly. Many puzzles involved rotating areas, walking on walls, or changing room layouts in ways that made each chapter feel unpredictable. I liked figuring out how the dream logic worked, especially during moments where the answer was hiding in front of me. The dark visual style and unsettling sound design also helped maintain tension without relying much on dialogue. Some stealth sections became repetitive because enemies moved slow, and several jump scares damaged the atmosphere more than they added to it. The creativity and presentation pushed this experience into the great tier. Limbo immediately grabbed my attention with its dark world. Almost no dialogue, no explanations, and barely any music guiding the experience. I played as a small boy moving through dangerous forests, deadly traps, giant spiders, and later strange industrial areas filled with clever environmental puzzles. What I liked most was how the game taught me everything through gameplay instead of tutorials or cutscenes. I died constantly, but every death felt like part of solving the puzzle rather than punishment, which kept the progression satisfying the whole way through. The black and white visuals and heavy ambient sound also created a tense atmosphere that stayed memorable from beginning to end. I did feel the second half lost some emotional impact once the world became less alive, but the final moments completely landed for me. This easily earns a spot in the masterpiece tier. Planet of Lana caught my attention with its beautiful hand-painted world, emotional storytelling, and clever puzzle design that always felt balanced. I traveled through forests, deserts, caves, and abandoned ruins alongside a small companion named Mui while searching for a missing sister after a machine invasion changed the world. The connection between Lana and Mui made the puzzles much more interesting since teamwork was constantly required to distract enemies, activate mechanisms, and interact with creatures across the environment. I also liked how the game handled its story without relying much on dialogue, letting the visuals, music, and animations carry the emotional moments naturally. The pacing stayed smooth because difficult puzzle sections were usually followed by quieter moments to appreciate the scenery and atmosphere. The world design, soundtrack, and emotional journey easily secure this adventure a place in the excellent tier. SILT gave me a very different kind of puzzle adventure, with its dark underwater world, strange sea creatures, and unsettling atmosphere. I controlled a diver exploring flooded forests, ruined factories, and deep caverns while using the ability to possess different aquatic creatures to solve puzzles and survive dangerous areas. Each creature had its own purpose, like cutting through obstacles or powering machines, which kept the gameplay changing often enough to stay interesting. I also liked the monochrome art style because it made the environments feel eerie without relying on loud horror moments. The larger boss encounters were easily the strongest parts since they combined puzzles with more cinematic sequences. At the same time, many regular puzzles felt too straightforward and the progression became predictable after a while. The atmosphere and unique mechanics still help this adventure swim into the good tier. Little Nightmares 1 and 2 delivered some of the most tense and unsettling moments I've experienced in puzzle platformers. Sneaking through dark kitchens, creepy schools, hospitals, and giant distorted environments constantly made me feel small and vulnerable in the best way possible. I loved how both games relied mostly on visual storytelling instead of long dialogue scenes, letting the environments and horrifying enemies explain the world naturally. The monster designs were easily some of the strongest parts, especially during chase sequences where hiding and escaping felt genuinely stressful. I also liked how the second game expanded certain mechanics with Mono and Six working together during exploration. Platforming occasionally became frustrating because of awkward depth perception and precise jumps, but the atmosphere rarely stopped being engaging. The horror, world design, and unforgettable enemy encounters easily pushed these games into the masterpiece tier. Cocoon completely fascinated me with how it turned puzzle solving into something that constantly felt smarter the further I progressed. I controlled a small, insect-like creature moving between strange alien worlds, stored inside glowing orbs that could also be carried around and used to solve puzzles. What started simple slowly became mind-bending once I began placing worlds inside other worlds and jumping between them to manipulate environments in different ways. I liked how the game explained almost nothing directly and trusted me to understand mechanics naturally through exploration and experimentation. The colorful art style and atmospheric music also made every new area feel mysterious without needing dialogue or cutscenes. Some puzzles had me retracing my steps for a while, but solving them always felt satisfying once everything clicked together. The creativity and puzzle design easily placed this in the masterpiece tier. That's my full ranking of games like Inside based on atmosphere, minimalist storytelling, and puzzle design. Some focus on emotional storytelling, others on mechanics, but each delivers a unique wordless journey through strange, memorable worlds. Thanks for watching.